So right now I would like to invite Mr. Shi Kai-sen on the stage. Please give him a big hand. And of course, may I invite Miss Ratchaporn Chu Choi. And please welcome Miss Oyang Aini. May I invite Mr. Kevin Young. And I would like to pass the stage on to our moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Isis Chen.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Are you still here? I'm so surprised to see that we still got so many companies along with us. I just think it's a very fantastic afternoon that after this brilliant sharing of our wonderful speakers. And I also take my notes because that we all see that there are so many different in Thai and Taiwan designers. But after their sharings, I also found that we really had something in common. Like, for nowadays, the designers, not only in the Thai or Taiwan, we are also thinking systematically. That's the first. And for second, I just found that we are trying to provide the solutions in the cities, and especially in the evoking Asian cities with similar problems such as a house shelter high density of populations or design solutions provided for after disaster arrangements or something for third to create not only products or buildings that is visible, but we are all eager to provide a design experience also. And for next, we are saving the world, try to save the world. And at the same time, the designers, we all are trying to create value to the world. And the final, design is about all actions with numerous possibilities. So here's my first questions that I would like to ask for our speakers. Yeah, maybe the Aining, Shi Kai, and also Mrs. Ratchaporn, that you all have encountered projects related to new materials, like R&D and sustainabilities in recent years. And for those systematic issues, what angle do you take? And to change the system from the beginning, what action will you take at the first beginning to change the whole system? So maybe we could start from Aining, right?
Yeah, our team, Renata Lab, and our team members, we got people from environmental engineering, and we have people in material science, in industrial design, in communication, in marketing, and curation. And you know, after a few years' efforts, we came to realize it's far from enough. So we start to collaborate with the other partners, try to create a even more multidisciplinary team. And about this issue, environment issue is so large, so we might feel so helpless when we're facing this challenge. And the thing, I think the key is that we need to identify the cause-effect relationship, which means this challenge we are facing today, when we talk about air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, climate change, global warming, all these things are effect. And what is the cause? The cause is our kind, human being, people, us. So I guess that since that we are the troublemaker, I think that that's come back to talk about people's heavy behavior, talk about people. I think that's more makes sense. So human-centered design, human-centered thinking is still the key, I think. And when we talk about this ecosystem, if you need material science technically support, please write us email. We have somebody can give you this information, this expertise. And yet it's far from enough. And when we talk about ecosystem, it means that a lot of stakeholders need to get involved during process, not only in this resort. Which means, let me take for example, the policy. It might be, policy might be the radically change factor. And also, let me take financial support, financial tools, for example. I mean, our financial system to lay support for this sustainability, circular economy is still another problem. So let's come back to this. I'll say that the human being is the fact, is the key. And when we talk about ecosystem, it demands collective efforts, work together. So I think that's the key. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Maybe we will try to redesign the troublemakers itself. And next, also lady first, Ms. Ratchapon.
Yes. In my case, working with new materials as an architect, first it would come from, it comes from the problem that we couldn't find material we like. Like we would like to get some quality, but we couldn't find. So, and then, in several cases, we see a lot of waste of cut materials in from the manufacturers after the constructions, and then also that as an architect, again, it is always a question of the budget, how we build cheaper, but keeping the quality. So with all these angles, we use different strategy, as I show a little bit in my talk, that we try to implement with already existing manufacturer, improving a little bit of their products, make it more updated, like more fashionable, let's say, changing colors, and also helping them to meet more building regulation standards. And then in some other cases, like the case we work with BSG glass, trying to use the leftover glasses, glass panels from architectural installation to come up with new products. Also, this is like the waste kind of problem solving. And then in the case of the museum, for example, it was the idea that how we bridge the local culture with the new thing, how we could bring some kind of essence that we already have, bringing into the new level. That's more like trying to explore what we have and bring it to the upper level. I don't want to say upper, like further level.
Yeah, indeed, in the future, that just like the manufacturing, the material could be a system, and also could be the building architecture. And next, thank you for changing.
Well, I already forgot the question. Could you just give me some hint, like a few points?
Yeah, we would like to, for the future, as
Yes.
design sees as a whole, in what angle could you take for the future design to change the system?
Well, for me, I'm trying to figure out, because I do have my own design direction, but for the project I shared today, it's totally different. For example, we have to take the viewpoints from my client's position, and not only them because they are an association or organization trying to help the industry. So also trying to swap the position to the position of the industry to different manufacturing or factories. So what we do is before we start the workshop, we actually visit Hualien about 3 times, and also invite them to kind of open their mind to see what other companies doing. Maybe there, for example, you might know Taiwan we have there's a big exhibition called Taiwan Cultural Export, and it's happened around April every year. So we took all these participate factory to the exhibition, and we show them this might be your future or might be your future clients. So this is really kind of I don't know how to say this in English, but I almost split my mind into a few parts, it's trying to see one thing from all different angles. Yeah. I think to give or trying to give a good solution, good enough for fitting their needs, to bring them to the right direction, and we are still on this way. I can't say, what I provide to them is the right one, but the correct one, I would say. But at least, because if they don't move, they will die. Yeah, so at least they're trying to swing up and to the top of the sea to prevent to get drowned. Yeah, they're trying to, yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Shikai. Because I think that we all are discussing about the meaning and purpose, just like Jet said. So here's my second question. We know that Jet and Kevin are both experts in the field of service design, and you all have was introduced to policy and commercial commercial operation that in different topic. So, in your observation of the evoking Asian cities like Bangkok or just like Taipei, the multiple development of these cities very different from the traditional Western cities. So, in your point of view, that in the future, you think which group of the customer in these Asian cities could have more dire need for service design? And to them, how do you try to convince your customer to believe in and to kick off a change to their city life? And maybe for Kevin first.
All right. Yeah, indeed. I mean, every city in Asia, not just we are talking about Thailand, Bangkok, or the Taipei of the Taiwan is quite different, but I think in the very early afternoon today, I just chat with Jet, and we are talking about maybe we are living in different cities, but sometimes we are facing a very similar urban challenge or question together. So I think in the future, maybe for all of the designers' opportunities, I will say one is sustainability for the environment, which is like Ainin or other speakers said, it's very challenging and a very good time point today for all of the professions and the designers to figure out the new solutions for the sustainability. And in the other way, for the sustainability for the human, I will say one very big and very significant population is the aging people. Like in Taiwan, I would say like for my company as example, more than 80% of the clients they came to us to figure out about the elderly people's problem. So not problem, their needs. Yeah, how to create a new solution for them to try to rebuild or redesign a supportive, more supportive environment for them. I think that is a very big opportunities for Asia's cities, because right now Asia's cities, I mean, yesterday I just read a book from Japan. He said you can image how many, you can guess how many people will still remain in 3,000 years. I mean, after the 1,000 years after today in Japan. Japan in the next 1,000 years, they will just reduce their population and become 2,000 people. 2,000 people, yeah. And then the population of the world will still increasing, but some of the very huge cities right now in cities, they will facing very serious the population decreasing problems. So today I think not just a service designer's problem, but if we want to try to find out the new meaning or new purpose or new value of the new design, I think the aging issue will be the very huge one in the future. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. And Jet?
I think my time's up.
Yeah, so you are our final.
I'm with you on that one. I think the aging population, or they call it the elders, but for me, I think new theories need to be, produced in as a toy designer. You have like the whole child theory, and then this could be like the whole person theory. What would it be like? I mean, I don't think we should look at the elders as a separate category. I think we're all humans, and how do we live together? I'm sure that, I think my mom becomes younger after I had my children. I'm sure you are like that too. Yes. So actually it's not about, okay, you're old, so you go stay old. It's like, you're old. I mean, everyone's old to a certain level, but how do we coexist, right? Yeah. And then that's basically how we exist as human beings. There's a word, as a saying, something like it's harder being human than being a human being. Something like that. I can't remember the words exactly. But and when it comes to services, I think that we need to understand the psychology of aging. And I think that there's a phone company in Thailand that came up with a phone called Ama. Ama is like your grandmother. Ama. Yeah, same word. Yeah, in Chinese. Yeah. So, and they proudly call it AMA, Ama. This one Ama would love, because I'm sorry if anyone works for that company, but big numbers and big screen, and I'm old, I'm using Ama, But if you're 70, do you want people to know that you're 70? Do you think if it would be better if the concept is like, oh, I'm 70, but my communication device is the same as my 25-year-old? It's not about ability. It's not about disability. Actually, it's about ability. What can you do? It's not about not what you cannot do. So as a designer, we have to be positive and kind of look at ability of people, rather than you can't walk, or you can't see, or you can't press. No, what can you do? How can we use technology? How can we use interaction? I mean, we live in the 21st century. I mean, we can do anything. You can think and something happens. So how can we utilize that to facilitate interactions between people? And I know it's not that, it's easy to say, but I'm sure that there's funding, there's technology, there's benefits, there's so many things, but how do we all get together? And that's the whole point of living, right? How do we create what is sustainable well-being for everyone? It doesn't matter what. I mean, for us being Asian, I think the family is so important. It's such an important institution. So I think that I'm more into the government thing now. How do we reinforce that family institution to be strong and actually work together? Simple as that, I think. thumbs up.
That would be great. Thank you, Jet. And so I know the time is up, but for the very last moment, that I would like to invite every speakers to have a short conclusion about today's discussion. We will start from Shikai, okay?
Thank you, Zhang. No, sorry. Yeah, I'm really great to be here because I really learned a lot from other speakers that I was struggling earlier, like these few years, because what I'm doing is not only like designing an object, but more things. I was really confused about this, but I think since everybody is doing the same thing, so I feel much more comfortable. No, but I really think like in this age, or sometimes we need to forget who am I and what I can do, but to kind of to collaborate with other people and sort of, because it's not really asking you like you forget what you are doing, but when you put down, like for example, if you don't only do like object design, industrial design, but actually you can do more, but you have to tell yourself to put it down first. For me, and this is kind of today's talk, like remind me this, where I will carry on this role as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Shikai. Mr. Ratchapon? Yeah, of course.
For me, it seems that everybody is struggling with several similar issues, and it's great to see that we have a lot of things to concern, waste problems, aging population, circular design, all that. I think the world is changing so fast, and it's great to see a lot of attempts from people to go forward with this. And one thing I found is that perhaps in comparison to Taiwan, Thailand is still working as a single player, while Taiwan has more like collaborative efforts in working together as a design team. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ratchapon. And Aining?
Yeah, I felt pretty cool today to see opportunities coming. I mean, I found a new generation is forming. The people gather here today. We talk about sustainability. We try to scope up this social good, looking for new methodology. We try to enlarge this impact, and that's cool. And I think that several among us, we mentioned about the business model today. So I think that's cool because business model is something allows this social good to be enlarged, to be scaled up, and we don't need to separate business and social good into two categories. We can do them at the same time, do them both. And I think that's cool because we have this mindset and that allows these things keep happening. And I think this also means that we're about to have a new market and new consumers because everyone here today, sometimes we are the designers, we are enterprise. At the same time, we were also a part of consumers. We're part of this market. So I see that market is changing. So enterprise is changing, market is changing. I see great opportunities coming, and I think that's cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Aileen. And for Kevin?
All right. I think today is a very nice learning opportunity for me because I always can get a new energy and motivation from all the speakers and all of you. So I think I encourage everyone, you should know or you have to exchange your business card to the people sitting next to you, and then try to connect to the new people because sometimes we want to push the society or all environment change, sometimes you have to find your new revengers, like in the movie. Like you have to find your Hulk, your own Iron Man, or your own others very strong partners with you. Because sometimes it's always exist many challenge, but sometimes always I believe is you design is all about action, and then sometimes it's a small action, but it can cause a big difference. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And our attracting jet.
Okay, so I don't know what to say now. Conclusion. Thank you. I think that design is a tool. You know, doesn't matter how you use it, it is a tool. But I think that as a designer, you know, I'm happy to talk to like different types of designers because you learn a lot from different types of people. But I also like, I'm just gonna go off camera a little bit here, but I was actually inspired by a book called The World Without Us that talks about like what happens if we're not here. Actually, the world will be better, right? If we're not part of the ecosystem, I think it will keep going, it will be better. So I think we need to ask about us, like, what is our purpose being here? Anyway, but that's, we can go on. But then, but to conclude it, like the other day, my daughter came up to me and asked me, Daddy, what does it mean that today will never come again? And it kind of get me thinking like, yeah, because today is today, it will never happen again. And she kept pestering me like, what does it mean? What does it mean? I said, I don't know, but all I can say to you is, Mila, you eat a little, you read a little, you travel a little, and you say hi to a stranger once in a while. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jet. I think that we all could always learn more from child.
Yep.
And for the last of the last, I think for the future, the whole world is going to be a net. So everybody, including you, that we are all part of the system. So maybe just for today's theme, we are all a big little T. We are little T, but we are also big enough to change the world. Thank you for everyone's attendance today, and thank you for all the speakers who are sharing wonderful ideas with us. Thank you all. Thanks.
And that's Big Little T Resolution ขอบพระคุณมากนะครับเชียร์ We really appreciate your presence here at TCDC Bangkok Thailand ขอบคุณมากเลยนะครับ